The same point says this will empower private higher education institutes to set fees for their programs independently. I repeat, independently. Yes, there are provisions for regulatory authorities, but see here, see the details. I will ask all the participants to try and understand the details. Try and understand the between, the words that are there between lines, the thoughts that are there, that are hidden. Try to locate, try to identify the agenda, the secret agenda. They are giving free hand. Actually, they are giving free hand to the private players, and they're saying that foreign universities will come and invest here and educate our students. This will increase what? This will legalize brain drain. Apart from looting our poor students, our parents, this will exploit, no doubt, because they will be coming not with philanthropic zeal. Philanthropy is nowhere. There is no space for philanthropy in the market. They understand the language of money only. See what Jio is doing in India. They are hiking the prices for their, internet or calls, voice calls. So they understand only one language, the language of profit. So when foreign universities, no serious foreign university will come to take it from me. No serious, front runners will come to India. Only the second, maybe the second class universities will be invited. And say if a situation arises, say China invents here, hypothetically, China invests here, makes universities here, and thousands of students get enrolled. And the next day, the Waqt Kul, very famously known nowadays, the Waqt Kul start propagating against China because of certain political or border disputes with India. It may happen with other countries as well. The country that come to India and invest money here in higher education sector, will you boycott, the circus that is going on in India at the moment? Boycott China. The next day, the next month, the next year, you may start a new campaign as boycott UK, boycott US, boycott Russia, and other countries. And by that time, they have set up educational institutes here, and thousands of students have got enrolled. What will happen to those students? And then I was talking about legalizing brain draining. Those universities come to India. Now they're relying on agencies to identify the best brains of India and giving them offers. This is how best brains are being smuggled out of a country. Now they will get the license, valid license, to come and identify our best merits, our best talents, and take them to their country, export them to their countries. This is how India is going to be intellectually exploited as well. You are giving access to the foreign universities to our, merit as well. So this is not an acceptable, acceptable proposal. You try to raise the standard of our universities. That should be your motto. So instead of doing that, you are doing exactly the thing that will damage the backbone of India intellectually. So this is to be opposed. And good things have been said about socially and economically backward communities, girls, female, women's education. But those who are associated with higher education know it well, that this very government tried to close down all women study centers across the country. This is their attitude. This government and the organization that controls this government, we all know, the world knows that they are sexist, they are racist, they are casteist, and they are Brahminical. Sanskrit, let me come to the question of language. They don't see Sanskrit as a language. It reminds me of Srinivasa, M.N. Srinivasa. Changes, aspects of change in modern India. Read Srinivas. He says Sanskrit is not a language, it's a way of living. It's a Brahminical way of living. Had they prioritized Sanskrit language, had they emphasized the use of Sanskrit language, had the intention was sacred, like promoting Sanskrit, I personally wouldn't have any problem. But they are not using Sanskrit as a language, they're using Sanskrit as a culture of the upper caste, a culture of the upper class. And look, go back to 2016 Amravati conference of this particular Hindu outfit who controls the present government. Their declared agenda is to revive that system in India. So revival of that system would result in once again developing Brahminical society in our country. So once again, my point is, once again, this government and this particular organization is trying to take India back to the days of 1830s, 1850s. The last few education policies of India tried to break the shackle of colonialism and make education system truly Indian. But if this education policy is implemented, there's every possibility of that. The whole country will suffer. Today or tomorrow, the whole country, today, those who are supporting this education policy will know that this education policy and the makers of this education policy has a sacred agenda, that is to take India back to the days of ancient times, the days of colonialism. So we all, the responsibility at the moment of the academia is to generate awareness among people. Let us talk. Our problem, Amartya Sen, after the first two national education policy, lamented that in India we hardly come across any public discourse on these policies, whereas public discourse is most important to make people aware of the evils of a policy or identify the good sides of a policy. But in India, we are failing. Intellectuals, academics are failing to engage common people. That is why common people are getting entrapped. They are falling prey to the politics of propaganda. I said Satan was the best speaker. Don't mistake it that I'm trying to compare Satan with the best speaker of India at the moment, according to many. I'm not saying that. But people with evil designs always speak good, speak well. Hitler used to speak well. But we have to go deep into the details and try to identify the devil and hold such discussions with common people, with commoners. Let them understand the policies of the government, the agenda of this government, and the poors. It is, some are saying that it is poor friendly. It's guaranteeing scholarship to poor students, socio-economically backward students. But we again, we know, as this same government tried to close down all women study centers, they stopped MPhil and PhD scholarships across the country. And these scholarships help poor students who come from socio-economically backward communities. Those students, it helped those students to continue their research. This government doesn't want research, serious research. They are telling you what you are supposed to, which subject you are supposed to conduct your research on. And what will be the subject? Subjects most superstitious, most unrealistic subjects you'll be forced to research on. So serious research, serious studies, higher education is going to suffer a lot. Once again, I'm telling you, if this education policy is implemented, they're asking a 3-year-old child to go to school. Which school? Government schools where there is no CCTV camera. Take it from me, if this is implemented. We are seeing around us that even in the schools, private schools, where best facilities are available, hundreds of closed circuit cameras are there. Children are getting exposed to mental harassment, physical torture, even sexual assaults. Age group between 3 to 6, because they can't express what has happened to them. Now you are legalizing, once again, you are legalizing this harassment, this assault on kids without developing proper infrastructure. We don't have proper infrastructure to monitor the proceedings in those schools, and you are forcing a 3-year child who cannot express what has happened to him or her. You're forcing those children to enter the system. Think of the trauma. Think of the trauma that is going to happen, that is going to be suffered by these students. They will never, the scar that will be created in their memory, that will haunt them for the entire life. They will never be able to come out of this trauma. So the government doesn't know, the policymakers don't care what's going to be the outcome, impact of this policy. They had to make a policy because they were instructed to do so by an organization to promote ancient Indian culture, Sanskritic, Brahminical education system. They are doing that. And now, let me come to the concluding part of my presentation, where I will quote Jawaharlal Nehru, who says, a university stands for humanism. A university stands for humanism, for reason, for progress, for the adventure of ideas, and for the search of truth. It stands for the onward march of the human race towards even higher objectives. Show me one line that guarantees these things. Show me one line that guarantees the nature of our nation. Udayanda was giving the example of Tagore, Rokto Karabi. Thank you, Udayanda, for giving such a great example. Of course, another epoch-making work, Gore Baire. Think of Sandeep, the westernized intellectual leader, who always speak in high-sounding rhetorics. But when it comes to facing difficulties, he flees. So this education policy can be compared to the luxury, grandeur, gaudiness of Sandeep, westernized, but lacks genuine nature. That's true, quote-unquote, Indianness. Sandeep, sand deep. Let me pronounce it differently. Sand deep. So sand is very deep in this education policy. Students are bound to get sink in this sand deep. So let's unite and do our best to take this debate to the public forums and make people aware of the dangers that is looming large, the dangers that are there, the devils that are there in this document. Thank you very much.
দেবব্রত বাবুকে অসংখ্য ধন্যবাদ। সত্যি চোরাবালি বা আমাদের মাননীয় স্পিকাররা বারবারই একটা কথা বলে যাচ্ছেন যে প্লুরালিজমের কথা, বহুত্ববাদের কথা। এবং সন্দীপ বাবু, আমার দেবব্রত বাবুকে আমার সব থেকে ভালো লেগেছে, উনি অনেক দূর থেকে শুরু করেছেন। সে একদম 1835 সাল থেকে ম্যাকলের সময় থেকে শুরু করে বক্তব্যগুলো রাখতে আরম্ভ করেছেন। এবং আমার ওনার বক্তব্য খুব ভালো লেগেছে, আশা করি যারা শুনছেন প্রত্যেকেরই ভালো লেগেছে। আমরা প্রায় শেষ পর্যায়ে চলে এসেছি। আমি ব্যক্তিগতভাবে প্রত্যেক মাননীয় স্পিকারের কাছে খুব কৃতজ্ঞতা প্রকাশ করছি, কিন্তু আপনারা তো জানেন যে প্রত্যেক অনুষ্ঠানের একটা করে ফর্মাল ভোট অফ থ্যাঙ্কস হয়। আমি ডক্টর